Hi, Gemini. It is Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I'm here for your March 2016 monthly tarot reading. So today I'm going to draw 3 cards from the Shadowscapes Tarot for the work category. Then I'll draw 3 from the Silver Witchcraft Tarot for love and relationships, and then an overall oracle card from the Earth Magic Oracle. Okay, so on the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Wands. This is a card, and it's so beautifully depicted in this deck because you see this is a woman here holding this entire community on her back. The weight of the world is literally on her back in a way. So it's pretty obvious what this card is talking about then. It's being overburdened, taking on too much. There can be an unwillingness to delegate responsibility. It could be you're with someone or work for someone that is just piling way too much upon you as well, something like that. So that feeling of having too much on your plate, of being overburdened, is going to be sort of beneath this reading. Okay, so I think this feeling of the Ten of Wands is actually inspiring you this month to make some changes. So the way I see the Chariot card is I think often we go through life sort of just feeling like almost like a river, and we're just have to go with the flow, and we're just being carried, and we need to sort of react to obstacles that pop up. Um, Whereas the Chariot card, you would be in a canoe, deciding where you're going to go, and mapping out your way, and then going there and knowing what's coming up, and you know taking your own path. It's instead of just being in this chariot, being pulled along by they're unicorns in this, these horses that are they look like they're sort of fighting and out of control, and just, you could be in the back of that chariot just going along for the ride and trying to hang on for dear life, or you can grab the reins, take control, and steer it where you want to go. So this is about purposeful action, making a plan, and executing it, and working toward steering your goal, taking action as opposed to reaction. And then we have the Strength card, so another major arcana. So this is going to be a particularly strong month for you in the work category. You're making some at least internal decisions that you will then execute. I think I said that word already in the physically in the physical world. So Strength is another interesting card. It's not brute strength. This woman is not taming this lion with chains and whips and restraints. She's taming it through her calmness, through her confidence. But she's also making herself very vulnerable, if you think about it. I mean, this is a lion. This is the top of the food chain, predator. So that's what I really think true strength is making yourself vulnerable, doing something even when you're afraid, even when you know there's a risk, taking a risk on yourself. And if you think about it, if you say you really, this is a work category, but say you really like someone, unless you make yourself vulnerable and ask them out or let them know somehow, chances are, the relationship may never happen. So this is that in a job, apply for a job, even if you don't think you have all the qualifications they want. Sometimes job um, um, postings, just be careful that you're not turned off because we want a master's degree and 10 years experience and all these certificates and all, very few people are going to have all the requirements of the job. So don't be, that's kind of like their ideal candidate. So maybe apply for some jobs that you traditionally have been like, oh, I'm not qualified, and take more of a chance on yourself. And even if it's something outside of your current field, I think it's telling you to branch out and go for something that you want instead of being on a career path because it's just kind of worked out that way and you've just kind of got this job and you sort of worked your way up and now you feel sort of stuck in it because you've gotten to a certain level that you would have to start all over again. Well, I don't know, maybe you do need to start all over again, because if this is the way that job is feeling now, is it worth it? Is it really where you want your life to go? Oh, wow. The Tower. So 3 major arcanas. So what the Tower is telling me, the Tower sort of comes up when you need to make a change, but for some reason you're blocked, you're afraid to do it. Sort of something happens and forces it to come to fruition. It's like, say you're very materialistic and things are very important to you and your family, maybe you got divorced because you're more into your things than your family, or something like that. Then your house burns down and you lose everything. All the people are okay, but say you lose all your things. Well, something like that's really going to sort of hopefully wake you up and realize, well, at least everyone was safe and those things really don't matter, because the outcome could have been, I lost people I love. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you don't take some steps to unburden yourself from the 10 of Wands, and follow the advice of the Chariot and sort of take a risk and start steering your career in the way you want, even if it's, makes you vulnerable, you have to take a pay cut or it's kind of a risk, something may come along and force you to do that. You may become exhausted. You may blow up at work because you're just so overburdened, and then maybe you lose your job, or maybe there are layoffs. So something like this can be really devastating when it happens. However, you always have to look for the opportunity in the Tower card. The Tower card always gives you what you really want, but you were unable for whatever reason to make happen yourself. And it was interesting. I don't usually read reversals, but this card was in reverse. So I do have to say, I have the feeling that you guys are going to sort of bypass the Tower by taking action yourself. But it still may feel like a mini Tower, okay? Because it was scary and you're leaving the security of a job, even if it's a job you hate, you knew what to expect, that's why people stay in abusive relationships. So, just do some soul searching. What do you really want? And think about your health and your well-being and your happiness, and explore maybe if you do want to change in career, or go for that job you may not usually have gone for, even if it makes yourself a little vulnerable. I think, if you just stay stuck, there may be some sort of somehow you're going to have to make a change in your career, one way or the other. And you can either take action or it'll end up being a reactive Tower type situation. If it does end up being a Tower type situation, please, please, please don't miss the opportunity that lays in the aftermath of the tower, because it always clears away. Basically it would kind of like make everything fall down, but maybe you'll still have one thing that you were able to save, and then that's your special. Um, that's that one nugget, that one thing that you then can build upon. So let's move on to relationships. I'm using the Silver Witchcraft by this is another one of Barbara Moore's decks. Well, the Shadowscapes wasn't Barbara Moore's, but I've been doing a bunch of readings, so I was using the Steampunk earlier, and that's one of Barbara Moore's as well. It's kind of interesting. I happened to listen. She lamented about how she must have sounded, but there's this podcast called The Hermit's Lamp, and I'm forgetting the guy's name. But in September of 2014, you can find them on podcast, iTunes, one of those type things, where he talked to Barbara Moore. He has 2 interviews with Barbara Moore. One, they're about a year apart. So if you listen to the earliest one, if you don't know what Barbara Moore is, she's done tons of decks. She worked for Llewellyn for years. She's a bigwig in the tarot and spiritual community. And she was talking about how she was really struggling. And she was doing what she loved, right? The tarot was something that she was going to do forever. And she was even in a place where she was questioning if tarot was going to continue to be a part of her life. And then she came back a year later on the show and was like kind of embarrassed that she had been in such a sort of a down place. But I thought it was pretty inspirational and beautiful because she started studying shamanism, I think she said. And it really sort of gave her new inspiration. And now she's like back into tarot with full, gusto and embracing it, because in a way tarot was still what got her through, even when she felt like she wasn't sure if it was what she wanted to do anymore. So it's sort of that type of situation I'm feeling in the work category. Okay, I have a crush on the King of Wands. I know it's weird, it's a card, I get it. I've been single for a long time. No, I just love his energy, and I'm a fire sign too, so that might be part of it. But this king, he's super motivating and passionate, and he's just a wonderful leader because he leads by getting people excited about things, keeping people motivated and excited. He doesn't lead by putting you down or micromanaging you or sweating the small stuff. He wants people excited and happy to come to work and motivated. So that's the underlying type of energy in a relationship. So I'm already feeling like in your relationships there may be this nice influence of around. Well, okay, then we have the Eight of Swords. But that's okay. The Eight of Swords is all about, I call it the denial card, actually. So it's times in our lives when we have ourselves our thinking so locked down, and we're so short-sighted and fearful that we can't see our way clear. Okay, so she feels tied to this tree during a lightning storm. But she's like, danger, danger, I can't break through, you can't break through. But, she has a knife in her hand right there that she could get away. It's really about blocks in our minds that are holding ourselves back. I'm already getting the feeling that some of us don't feel worthy of this type of energy. The king, it could be a king or queen, that's an energy of having this fun, exciting, like maybe, or we're afraid to get into a relationship because of past hurts. So let's keep moving on the cards. I need to see more of the picture. Oh, interesting. And we have the Five of Swords, drawing a line in the sand. So there's some sort of impasse going on, and it makes sense with the Eight of Swords that you're unable to figure your way out of in a relationship. So there's some relationship, could be a love relationship, could be some other partnership, could be at work, where you're just feeling trapped and you can't find your way out. So, there are some things, lots of times there's a lot of compromises we can do that is not compromising our integrity, but that can make a big difference, but we just don't want to lose. Like, I think we get stuck on being right instead of being successful. So I know, like, there's this, I have to be careful because people at work watch these. There's a particular personality I've worked with, and no matter how sweet you are in your email, like, good morning, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I do tend to call her on the phone because that, you don't have the misinterpretation that can happen in email. But if you ever have to ask her any sort of question, and it's not like questioning her ability, she just takes it the wrong way. And, I could be like, you know what, lady, do your stupid job and just let me know. I'm not even asking for me. I'm asking for someone else. Like, it's your job. Can you just give me an answer without all the tude? I would be right in a way, I was being perfectly professional and polite and within my duties to be asking this question. There's no reason for her to react like that. Now, if I want to be successful with this person, which I do, and I can actually say I can call her somewhat of a friend, I call her on the phone. I ask her how she's doing. I talk about her day. I ask about her family. And I joke with her. And I let her know we're in this together. And I help her out as much as I can. And so I've let her know I've gone out of my way even more because I want to be successful with her. I need to work with her. We need this partnership. And, I see so many times people just being like, oh, they're a jerk and just kind of escalating the situation instead of, trying to make it better. If you are in any sort of abusive relationship, do not listen to anything I just said. Get the hell out. Okay? Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you think you're in an abusive relationship, you are. I guarantee you. Now, if it's not and you're just having trouble, in this card, the line in the sand's here. Both of the people are on the same side of the line, right? And they're actually trying to meet in the middle. So I would say to look for ways you can potentially compromise and sort of talk about what the overall goal is instead of each person's side. And you may find out that you actually do have a common goal. You're just thinking about it differently and see if there is a way, try to compromise. If the person always wants you to compromise, well, maybe you need to break free of the situation. So this is the Page of Cups, new beginnings, messages about good emotional feelings, newness. So I do see that for those of you not in an abusive relationship or partnership, that this technique of compromise and really concentrating on the end goal and on being successful, not being right, is really going to bring about a new beginning in your relationship. And may even, this guy is like passion, maybe even help to reignite the passion that maybe has been, this was the bottom of the deck, buried and hidden in your relationship. And I think I could even relate this back to the work category of freeing yourself from a situation that has not been happy at work, and finding some motivation, finding someone who's going to appreciate you for what you have to offer, and not just, my dad said this to me. He was like, you can just take on so much work, and instead of understanding instead of capitalizing on your talents, they're just giving you more and more work because you're so efficient and good at it. And that's sort of where I am in my career. I can do the work with my eyes closed, and I can do a ton of work. But they need to start capitalizing on my experience. Okay, let's see. And we drew I don't think I've gotten this card. Lotus flower unfoldment. What a beautiful card. So I see the sun coming up from these clouds, the flowers blossoming. I think there's going to be some major shift in how you are approaching things. I keep going back to that Chariot card, that you're really going to break free and start steering your life the way you want. And it's really going to just absolutely change your life, and you're going to blossom. You're going to find your enthusiasm, you're going to find your good feelings, you're going to find your motivation and your excitement about where you're moving toward in your life. So it's some powerful shifts, internal shifts, I think are in store for you this month. So I really, really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.